What is up, everyone? I actually have the most amazing thing to show you guys and talk about. And I basically, with a friend, was able to program a bot that is just better than the marketplace, period. The biggest problem for me with the marketplace is that you cannot filter for R1 and R2 genes. So what I mean is, as you can see, the skill set of this bad boy here is Tri-Spikes, Tiny Turtles, Cerastes, and Grass Snakes. But I cannot look for what he has over R1 and R2. And when you're breeding, this is like the most important thing, right? Even though you have extension that allows you to look at the axes, at the end of the day, you really want that information. And, well, there are ways to bypass that, right? Usually, purity could help. But when we're talking about different axes that have different skill sets, this doesn't help that much, because if you have a heptile with bug parts, or pureness filter, it doesn't really do that much. So let's pretend I wanted to breed this exact axie here. Tri-Spike, Cerastes, Grass Snake, and Tiny Turtle. Then we would have to go for breed count. And as you can see, like the cheapest ones I can get cost 0.3, right? And then I would have to hover, probably go to the next page. So you start getting some decent purity around here, right? You have Tiny Turtle, Cerastes, Tri-Spikes. They all have the R1 gene. Grass Snakes, unfortunately, has only Tiny Dino. But I guess, you know, that's okay. If you go here, this one is even worse, even though it's a little cheaper. Like, super, super expensive. These people, they cornered the market. They probably have been doing this for a while. And because they have so many axes and they have, like, this very pure lineage of axes, they can do this. They can charge whatever they want. And if you want to join in, it's going to cost you a lot. This is very expensive, right? If you want to breed these, maybe it's profitable, but you're going to spend like 0.7 in a fodder, maybe 1 Ethereum on the other one. And after you breed them 5, 6, 7 times, they will cost very little, right? If we go back to the price here. So you're going from 0.7 to a 0.2 after you bred it. And you lost like 1 Ethereum just by buying and then selling the fodders, and then you have to make a lot of money with the children. And, you know, that's risky, especially now that the prices have fallen. And everyone's like, oh no, the market is dead, you cannot breed anymore. And I really feel like that's, you know, that is true. It is less profitable to breed. You definitely had, you know, bigger booms and stuff like that. But I think this bot totally changes the game. Another way that you could find a good axie is, instead of looking for the 4 skills, you remove one of them, right? But when you do that, suddenly you have 300 freaking axes. And how the hell, like, it takes a long ass time for you to go over every single one of these, even if you go for 0 beat, right? You're still gonna spend a lot of time looking for these guys. Basically, what I did here is we created an R1 and R2 filter, and this will allow me, or the bot, to sort all of the axes that I look based on the skill set, right? Because when you look at purity here, it is purity based on the class of the axis. So this is a reptile, and thus having plant parts or having you know, bird parts will reduce its purity. But the purity I'm talking about here is actually a purity. So if I want the so the skills that I added here are Tiny Turtle, Cerastes, and Tri-Spikes. The purity showing here is only based on whether you have those skills on R1, R2, and D. So my friends, instead of spending 0.75 for the cheapest axie, we have one for 0.1 Ethereum. This is let's take a look at this bad boy, all right? And he didn't show here, right? Because, so yeah, it doesn't have Grass Snakes. But look at this bad boy, man. This is 0.1 Ethereum. And this is like the most insane, like, look at this. This is actually so freaking good. And we will talk more about this guy, because I want to save it here, because I was also able to create a breeding tool that is much better than Chill Axie. So if we actually go on Chill Axie, right? Basically what it does here is it allows you to add two axes. So let's say I'll add this guy, and I'll get a random one here. And so yeah, it will show me like the, you know, the chances, the purity, all that cool stuff. And this is awesome. but it doesn't tell me whether this is a profitable business or not. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's all that you care about. Maybe if you're trying to, you know, create this very specific axie, you don't care about money that much, but I think you would probably want to lose as little money as possible if you were to create a specific axie, which means having a way to figure out whether this is profitable is very important. And well, I also have a way to do just that. But before we do that, I need to find a mate partner for this bad boy, okay? So the skill set that we wanted was Cerastes, Grass Snake, Tiny Turtle, and Tri-Spikes, right? This is the one that we want. And the problem with this guy that I found is that he doesn't have Grass Snake. What can we do to solve that? Basically, I can look again, but now I'll take Tri-Spikes out of the equation here and see if I can find something with Grass Snake instead, okay? And we're gonna look for the depths of the market and see if we can find a good breed. So, as you guys can see here, this one is a 91.7 match, which is insane. This guy is amazing, but you can see it costs a lot of money, right? And I think that's a little bit out of our depth for reach. But there's two that actually caught my eye here. We have the 0.35 Ethereum one, which doesn't have a great purity, but we also have a 0.5 one here. So these are the potential parents here. We have a... Alright, so it's perfect Tiny Turtle. It has Cerastes on DNR2. It has Garish Worm, which, you know, obviously is not what we want, but it's an amazing skill set, especially for reptiles. It is probably very profitable to get kids that have Garish Worm, even if they are not exactly what I wanted to breed in the first place. And we also have Grass Snakes there. It has DNR1. This is very cheap. What about the more expensive one? So this one has also Grass Snake on DNR1. It has Tri-Spikes on DNR2. Perfect Tiny Turtle with Cerastes. Alright, so this one, very cheap. These two, kind of expensive. Let's see what our breeding calculator has to say about them. Alright, so I'm gonna get these. So this is the 0.1. I really want this guy. He's super cheap. He's like insanely good. And I want to see what the calculator will say. As you can see, the most common axie we're gonna get is a Tiny Turtle, Cerastes, Tri-Spikes, and Grass Snake, which is exactly what we wanted, right? This is the exact build we wanted. And instead of just looking for the parts here and like paying a freaking Ethereum, we can do it for much cheaper. It's actually much more, right? It's one parent is 1 Ethereum, but we would probably pay around 1.7, 1.5 for, you know, kind of perfect parents, but they would also lose a lot of value, which means this would be a very risky endeavor. And here it says the best amount of breeds is 6 with a 70% profit margin, which is probably going to be lower with the way the market is, but it's still super high. Now I want to test this one with the other possible parent, right? With this one, it's actually pretty close. The average price of every axie is about $1,000. This one is about $1,100. So even though these are a little bit more expensive, it actually says that I'm gonna get more money out of this one. So this is the super cheap one with the cheap one, and that's probably why I think I'm gonna lose much less value breeding this guy than I will breeding the 0.5. And this is so amazing, guys. I have never seen a video talking about stuff like this, and they're just really hard to find if you're manually looking for them. But this tool completely changes the way I'm using the market and I'm playing Axie Infinity. This is awesome, and I'm just really excited to be able to do this. I think I'm gonna buy these two guys, and I'll probably make a video about the results. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys want to know more about the bot, if you guys maybe want to use the bot, I just urge you guys to comment, to subscribe to the channel, because I definitely am considering trying to share this. It's actually kind of tricky because the bot doesn't support that much people. You also cannot sell a service like this. But I don't know. I just wanted to show the world about all of this, and I don't know. Thank you all for watching.